control and all. So let's keep them all the free and click on OK. Now you can see our robotic arm will follow only this part, this path. Actually it is intersecting because the path is not made using the calculations. Just ignore that intersection and look at this. So using the path mate, you can trace any vertex according to your path like this. Okay, I'll repeat this path mate again so it will be more clear. So let me delete that mate and create again. So we have deleted that mate, but I kept the sketch as it is. Now go to mate, go to the advanced mate, go to path mate, and under the path select the point. This time we will select the midpoint. Okay, and select the path and click OK. Now you can see that the robot is following the path by its midpoint. You can see when I drag it upwards and downwards, it is following that path. So this is the path mate. Okay. Now we will see some mechanical mates. Okay. So before going to mechanical mates, tell me first, do you have any problems in the path mate or in the symmetry in the width mate or any earlier mate, so that we can solve it now, and after that we'll go to mechanical mate. You can tell me anytime if you have any doubt. Now we will be continuing to our mechanical mates. In the mechanical mates, first mate is cam and follower mate. Second mate is slot mate, and third is hinge. Next is gear mate, and the next up is rack and pinion, screw mate. We have lots of mates. We will see the most used. That is, we will see cam, we will see slot, hinge, gear, rack and pinion, and this. Okay. So now let me create an example for your cam mate.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, could you please explain width mate again?
Width mate. Okay.
Aye, sir.
Let's suppose we want to add any part of which we do not know any dimension or its length to the perfectly center between the two faces. So now let's say this is a 60 mm and the distance between these two faces is 100 mm. You can see 100 mm here. So for that I will have to make calculations that this is 100, this is 60, so 100 minus 60, it will be 40, and 40 divided by 2, it will be 20. So I have to make manual calculations and give 20 mm here, let's say, to get it center. But in this case, suppose after a while I remember that 100 mm was not accurate. Actually it was 120 mm. Okay, so what you will see, this 20 mm is 20 mm distance made is at it is, and now the block is not at center. So again I will have to make calculations and change that 20 mm to again other dimensions. So to avoid these calculations and this headache, there is a width mate which will help in this regards. So we go to mate, we go to advanced mate, and in the width, in the first box we select the outer two faces which we want to centered, and in the tab selection we select the inner two faces. Now you can see this block is perfectly now. Okay, let me fix the other dimensions of it so it will be more clear. Now you can see it is fully defined, and I have fixed its other dimensions. So you can see from this view it is in the perfectly center. Now let's say I remember this is not 140, this is 120, and if I change it, it will be at exact center position again. So this is the benefit of using width mate, and this is the width mate. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so the next type we are going is cam mate in the mechanical mates. For that I am making cam geometry elliptical cam. Okay, so in that I have created this temporary cam. Okay, so let me create a hole in that. Let me create a hole in that and cut this out. Okay, now I'm saving it and creating a new follower for it. So you might be familiar with the command follower mechanism. So I am making a follower for that. I am using a revolved sketch to create a follower this time. Now you can see I have smoothened this end face so that we can easily understand its motion. Now let's go to the new assembly, create a new assembly, and I'll okay, not this. This is not my first part. Okay, I have to insert a shaft for it. So this is my shaft, but I don't want this shaft to be fixed. So I make this float, and I'll make this horizontal now. And now I want to fix this. So in that case, I'll select the top plane, go to mate, and I'll drop down the tree and also drop down the this, and in that I'll coincident top mate and top plane and right plane of part, so it will be horizontal. Now again with the right plane and front plane. Okay, now again with the front plane of this and top plane of this, I have fixed it in the horizontal manner. Now you can see the shaft cannot move.
Sir, can you repeat this again, sir?
Yes, sure. Let me change the dimensions of it. So firstly, what mistake I have made? I have inserted this part 8 and I clicked somewhere else accidentally. Okay, so you can see the origin is not at exact center of the part. So for that, and also I wanted this shaft in the horizontal manner. So for that, I clicked on the part name, right click, and I made this float. So it will be easy to move in the assembly. Now using a rotate tool, I made this some approx horizontal, and I selected this top plane here, and in the drop down also I selected the right plane because it is approximately horizontal according to current situation. So pressing Control and right plane or going to mate, we can select top plane and right plane to make them coincident. Now you can see both the planes are coincident. Now again for the front plane and right plane in the assembly, again making them coincident. Now again the front plane in the assembly and the top plane in the part, I have made them coincident. So you can see origin is at center and our part is in horizontal position. So for that, I'll now insert, okay, sorry. I'll now insert our next part, which is follower. So you can see I have inserted the follower. Let me fix it. Now suppose I want this follower to be exact center. So what I'll do a width mate. Now remember this shortcut for width mate. Select this face, press Control, select these two faces and rotate and these two faces, and you can see the width mate pop-up appears here, and as you click on it, it will automatically add a width mate. Now it has only 1 degree of freedom, that is of rotation. Okay, so we only have rotational degree of freedom here. Now we insert our follower part. Now this follower should be vertical. So for that, inside it with the right plane. You can see right plane is vertical plane here. So in the part number 5, we will coincide right plane with this right plane like this. Now it is going in this direction. So I'll also restrict in motion in that direction. So you can see front plane is in center, and here also the front plane. So I have made this lock. So now the follower can only move in up and down direction, and the cam can only rotate about the. So now let's go towards our mate. Sorry. Now let's go to the mechanical mates and have a cam follower. In the cam path, select this face. In the cam follower, select this face. It is not selecting the spherical face. So we can have a sketch here. And we can add a point here at its face. So when I come to this, again go to the mechanical mate, go to cam. In the cam path, select this face. In the follower, select that point. Now you can see it has selected this. Now when we click OK and you rotate the cam, you can see the follower is following cam now. Okay. Remember one thing, you must add a point if the follower surface is spherical or any type of face, there must be a point or there must be a vertex to comply with the follower path. Okay, I'll repeat this cam and follower again. Let me delete the cam follower mate again. Now you can see we have created a temporary situation where we have shaft, we have rotating cam, and we have up and down motion with our follower. So let's go to the mate, and in the mechanical mates, first option is cam. In that case, we have our cam path as this surface and follower as this point. Now when you click OK, you can see that its alignment changed. In the follower, we have this. We can change alignment from here. You can see that. Now again it's changed. Okay, let me add it again. Move this upwards. Go to mechanical mates cam. Select the cam path this, cam follower point this, and now it will be outside. So you can see when we, what is this? This is a bug in software. You can see that, friends, it is sometimes rotating outside and it is sometimes rotating inside. Actually, this is a software bug. Okay, so it's supposed to be rotating the outside only, like this. Okay, so keep in mind that this is a software bug. Now our next type of mate is,
Sir, how do you restrict? Follows direction in vertical course.
Sorry.
So how did you restrict followers direction in vertical motion?
Okay. We just made you see we have 9 degrees of rotations. Okay, the degrees of freedom. We have 6 of them. 3 are translational and 3 are rotational. So we only have linear one here in the y direction. So what I have done, you can see this coincide mate. I have made the right plane in the assembly and right plane in the part, means the follower coincide with them, so that the one direction gets locked. And in this mate, we again coincided the front plane of the assembly and front plane of the part, so that direction is also locked. Only the remaining direction is the y direction now. So if I coincide the top plane of assembly and top plane of follower, so the third direction will also be get locked. Okay, similarly we have followed that for our shaft also. You can see top plane of this is coincide with this plane. You can see right plane is coincide with that plane and front plane with this centered plane. So it is locked in that direction. Okay. Now let's see the next type, which slot, I guess. Yes, it is a slot tab. So for a slot, let me create one example for you. I am using now fillet option. You can see I am using the face fillet. First face, second, click on the second box, sorry. First face, click on the second box, second face, third box, third face, and you can see the fillet here. Again same, fillet option here, using the third option, first face, second face, third box, third face, and click on OK. Now you can see we have this curve slot in our base plate. Okay, let me name it as base. Now I have other part. Now I'm adding a circular knob there of 9 mm diameter, and I am making this concentric with the fillet face. Now extruding this face up to 15 mm, let's say, and save it to the, let's say, lever. Now create a new assembly. In assembly, insert the base and the lever. Now go to mate, go to mechanical mates, go to slot, and in this select a slot. We don't have to use cutter extrude here. We have to use a proper slot here. Now go to mate and slot tab. Select this slot, select this face, click on OK. Now you can see I didn't lock its motion actually. Let me lock its direction so it will be more clear. Now you can see we are only following our handle in that slot. So this is the slot mate. I'll repeat that again, and this time I'll also fix its this type of motion. Yeah. Now let's go to the mechanical slot. Select this slot, select this knob, click OK just, and you can see it will only follow that path. Also it will be centered in that path. Okay, so this is our slot mate. Now next one is hinge. So for hinge, let me create example for you. Does anyone of you knows where's the hinge used in our day-to-day life? So you can see I have this hinge part designed earlier, and also this one. So these two parts are used in the hinge. So now let's create a new assembly for that and insert both the parts in that case. So I'll fix my one part at the origin and the other part I'll keep it as free part. Now I have to rotate it in this manner. Okay. Now let's go to the mate. Let's go to the hinge, and you can see concentric relation and coincident relation. In the concentric relation, select this and this, and in the coincident relation, select this. Sorry, not the edge. Select again hinge. In the concentric one, select the circular faces. In the coincident one, select this linear face and this linear face and click on OK. You can see that we have our hinge now. Okay. So I'll repeat again. Basically, hinge mate, mechanical hinge mate is a combination of concentric mate and coincident mate. We can also create this type of switch situations using two simple mates, which is coincident and concentric. But to get some advanced mates, we go towards our hinge mate. So in that, go to mate. In the mechanical, go to hinge. In the concentric selection, select two circular parts, circular faces, and in the coincident selection, select the two faces which are to be coincident. So this face and this face will be coincident. Click on OK, and you can see we have our hinge now, which is rotating according to each other, with respect to each other. Okay, so this was a hinge mate. So now the next type of mate is gear mate. So before going to gear mate, we will be seeing what the design library is, how to add different components from it. Okay, so let's create a new assembly. You can also input the design library parts in the part also, but here we are learning mates, so I will input them in the assembly file. Similarly, you can go do that with the part file. Go to toolbox, click on add in. Now you can see that we have different type of standards here. We have American standard, Australian, British standard, Canada standard, German. This is Chinese. This is international, India standard, Japanese, Korean, and lot of more. Okay. So most of the times we will be following international standards. So in the international standards, we have bearings, bolt and screws, keys, nuts, O-rings, pins, power transmission, structural members, and washers. In the bearings, we have ball bearing and roller bearing. In the bolt, we have different type of bolt: cross head, hex bolt, hexagon socket, set screw, slotted head, square neck. In the keys, we have parallel key, woodruff key. In the nuts, hex nut, fine pitch, thin pitch, different types of that. O-rings, pins, clevis pins, grooved, parallel, tapered. In the power transmission, we have chain wheels and gears. In the structural members, we have C channel, circular tube, L, T, rectangular, square beam, SC beam, square tube, unequal L. We have washers, plain washers hardened, like that. So firstly, we will see how to add a gears. So in the power transmission, we have gears. We have different type of gears: helical gear, internal spur gear, rack, straight bevel, and straight meter. So in our example, we will be using a spur gear. So just drag and drop it in assembly. Now you can see the different type of inputs here. In that case, you have to select a module. Let's say I select a 3 mm module. I select a number of teeth as let's suppose 25. You can see my gear of teeth 25. I can have my pressure angle 20 or 14.5. I will keep it as 20. I have my face width as 12 mm. I can increase it to 20 mm. I have my hub style A. I can change it to B, and you can see it will add hub to the other side. I can change the hub type to C. It will have hub on the both sides. I'll keep it as A. Now I have keyway none. I have shaft diameter. Let's say in this case I have a shaft of 25 mm, and we can have our keyway 1 or keyway second. So we will only have our first key, one keyway. Okay. So after defining all the types, modules, number of teeth, pressure angle, face width, shaft diameter, key, and all, click on OK. And you can add again the similar one. Okay. Now when you click on the cancel here or here, it will add the number of instances you inputted that. Okay. So now again you can insert the other instance with more teeth, with less teeth, like that. Let's say we have 50 mm teeth, 50 number of teeth now, and click OK. You can see we have inserted the gears in our assembly. As our first part is always fixed, so you can see this gear is fixed. But in this case, we want to add a gear relation. So I will add a shaft in this assembly and I will fix that shaft. So I'll delete the remaining parts. I'll keep only 2 gears. And now I will add a shaft to it. Let me change it dimension to 25 mm and the width to 100. So you can see we have now our shaft. So now let's fix this shaft. So to fix this shaft, you can select the front plane in assembly and in the shaft and coincide it. Again top plane in assembly, top plane in shaft, coincide it. Now it is vertical. So right plane in the shaft and top plane in the assembly. And now top plane in the shaft and right plane in the assembly. Now it will be fixed. You can see shaft is fixed now. Now I'm making this gear concentric with this shaft. 10 mm distance from this face. Now you can see the shaft is fixed, but we can move the gear. Now for the similar case, I will create a new shaft. Here. Sorry. I'll again fix its position. Now just I want to enter a gear to it at a similar 10 mm of distance. So now you have to calculate the center distance between the two gears. So for that, you have one formula. You can see that this is the formula for that. You can, okay, let me go to that. You can take a screenshot of this. Okay, taken.
Yes, sir. Taken, sir.
Okay. So now you see we will use our second formula. M is for module and Z1 and Z2 are the number of teeth in gear 1 and gear 2. Now we have our module as 3 and number of teeth as 25 and 50. So that will be 75 into 3 divided by 2. So that equals 75 into 3 divided by 2, 112.5. So I will select both the shafts and go to the distance mate and I'll add 112.5 to that and I will select center to center here. Let me check that. Did I make any mistake here? This is a 25 teeth and this is a 50 teeth.
Sir, I think again the distance is resetted into 164. Sir.
Sorry.
The distance is again resetted into 164, sir. It's not 112.5.
Yes. Now it is 112, and you have to go in front plane, and you have to drag it in the approximate direction of their power transmission, like this. Okay, so you can see they are approximately symmetrical to each other. So after that, this is our base work for the gear mat. So let's go to the mechanical mats. In the gear, select the shaft or gear, any one of these. Select this, or you can select. Okay. Let me delete that. You can select this and this also, but mostly we select the circular part of it. So for that, what we do, we hide this shaft for a temporary manner. In that case, go again to the mechanical mat. In the gear, we select this, go downwards. You can see we have 25 1f1 because the shaft is 1. So in this case we have teeth 25 here, but in that case we have 50 here. So we will input the 50 here and click on OK. Now you see show hidden components option here. So when you click on that, you can see we have our hidden components, and click on those both and exit from that, and you can see it will be reappeared in the menu, and we have applied our gear mat, and now you can see that our gears are rotating with respect to each other. Okay, so let's have a gear mat once again. Again, I am hiding these two shafts. Go to mat, go to mechanical ones, gear, select the two inner surfaces. We have 25 tooths in this, so I'll keep this as it is. We have 50 here, so I'll change it to 50 and click OK. Go to show hidden, click on those, exit show hidden, and you can see we have our gears rotating. Okay.
So is it necessary to hide the shafts?
Sorry.
So is it compulsory that you should hide the shaft?
No. It is not compulsory actually, but for accuracy and to avoid the errors, I prefer that selecting the inner face of gear rather than selecting the outer face of shaft.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now, next one is rack and pinion. So I'll delete this also, and I'll input the rack here. I have my module 3, pressure angle 20, face width 20, length 250, and click on OK. And click on cancel. So we have our rack here. Now I'm making some previous work. So I'm making this coincident with this, and I have to fix this rack in this approximate position. Okay, so for that, in this case, the rack will not be moving, the pinion will be moving. Okay, so we don't want to fix our shaft, we just will fix our rack. So that select rack and pinion, sorry, select the shaft and rack, click on lock. Now you can see they are locked together, but there are lots of errors in that. I have to fix this first. Now you can see this is fixed. Now I have to delete this concentric feature so that it can move. So after doing base work, go to mate, go to rack and pinion, and in that select rack and pinion. Select this rack, sorry, select this rack, and in the pinion select this. It is not selecting the pinion. I guess there. So we will learn about our three remaining mechanical mates in our next session today on 4. What we have remaining, we have rack and pinion, screw and universal joint. We'll just finish that 3 in that session, and now we will go towards the hole alignment and also the library. So let's first see the hole alignment, and after that we'll see the library feature. So let me insert this. Okay, now this plate. Now what I'll do, I'll mistakenly put that hole in the misaligned manner so that we can check the misalignment here. You can see in the section view we have this misaligned hole. Now we will check its alignment using our misalignment tool. So let's go to evaluate, go to hole alignment. We have selected our assembly and hole center deviation as 10 mm. Click on calculate. You can see that this hole is deviation by 2 mm. This hole is deviated by 2 mm. This hole is deviated by 2 mm. If we enter 1 here, it will not show the misaligned hole. But if we enter the 2 mm and calculate again, it will not show. But when we go for 3 and calculate, it will show the 2 mm misalignment. It is very easy. Go to hole alignment, enter the deviation, allowable deviation value here, click on calculate, and you will see the deviation or misalignment with its value. Okay. So in the evaluation tab, we have interference detection, clearance verification, hole alignment, measure, mass properties. Now let's go to assembly visualization. And you can see we have two parts here. First part is plate, second part is plate part number 6. We can see in the assembly visualization, we can see its quantity and its mass here. You can see its density. We can change its total weight. We can have mass. We can change its properties here. Okay. So this is a assembly visualization. We can have quantity and total weight here. Now the performance evaluation. In the performance evaluation, it will show you how many parts you have, how many sub-assemblies you have, how many components, 3 components, number of top level. It is not basically used in the designing purpose. It is for the performance checking of software and the number of components in the assembly for that. Okay, so we have finished with our evaluation tab. These other tools, simulation express, flow express, these are not in our syllabus, so we'll not focus on that. We have only done with this type of commands. Now in the SolidWorks you have different type of add-ins. In the add-ins you have PhotoView 360. You can render your parts using that. You have 3D scanning, you have motion, you have circuit works used in the electronics, you have your routing, simulation, and toolbox. We will be seeing toolbox in our next 15 minutes. Okay, so out of these add-ins, we will only seeing the toolbox add-in, and if we have some more time on our session number 10, we will be seeing the PhotoView 360. Just one thing, one representative will remember, what we say, will give me call on that on the session number 10 that sir, you taking PhotoView 360, so I'll take the PhotoView 360 on our session number 10. So currently in the assembly, we have seen almost all the commands. Just our three mate types are remaining in the mechanical. Our exploded view is remaining and our toolbox is remaining. Now exploded view and toolbox we will see now. So for the exploded view, let me open my earlier and designed geometry. You can see how exploded view works. I have designed this for explode and unexplode. You can see explode. You can see collapse. So I'll create again this for your understanding. So go to exploded view. We have two types of explosions here, radial one and the linear one. In the linear one, it follows the linear path, and in the radial one, it follows the radial path. So we'll see both of them. Now, explode step one. In that case, select the components which we want to explode in our step one. So I will select this lock nut and I'll drag it to the outside like this. Now I'll mark it as done. Now I have my explode number step 2. In that case, I'll select this thrust bearing and drag it outside like this and mark it as done. For my step number 3, I'll remove this spacer and drag it outside. Now for my explode number step 4, I'll select all the screws, all the bolts here, and I'll drag them outside like this. Now for 5, I will select this part, I will select this bearing, I will select this bearing, this, this, and I'll drag it outwards. Click on OK. So this is basically a linear explosion, and when you click on OK, you can see we have created a exploded view. And when we go to configuration manager, we can see we have our exploded view 1. When you right click on that, you can animate that also. You can see actually I am not done the complete exploration, it takes time, so just it is an introduction to you. We just add step by step each part to the explosion step, and we can animate that using our configuration tab, which is third number in this top side, and go to exploded view 1. Click on now animation collapse. Now it will closed one by one. Click on the right click on the exploded view. right click on the exploded view and animate collapse. You can see it will collapse one by one. Okay. Similarly for the explosion, animate explode and it will explode one by one. Okay. Now we have seen the linear explosion. Now I'll give you the example for radial one. So my explosion step 1 is I will select this plate with these screws outside so you can see it better. And for the step number 2, I will select these screws to be radially outwards, and when I drag them you can see they are coming radially outwards. And click on done, click on OK. So for this left side we have our exploded view number 2, and you can see the screws are going radially inwards. Now please give attention towards that. The screws are coming radially outwards. Again I'll show that they will go radially inward and it will go back to its original position. Now let's see once again the explosion. Like this. So basically this exploded view command is used for presentation purpose. It is very attractive in the exploded view. Okay. Now we will be seeing our toolbox geometry. So I will create a blank assembly. In this we have number of types of bolt hardware, bolt, keys, nuts, o-rings, pins. So it is upon us what we want. Let's say I want ball bearing. Again I have some types: radial, angular, single direction, instrument precision. Let's say I want angular contact. So I'll drag it in the assembly and you can see it will ask me for size. They have their different sizes. It will ask me for number of balls. It will ask me for display, cage, add cage, like this. And when I click on OK, it will create a multiple instances till I click the cancel tool. You can see we have our bearing now. Now in the same manner, for each type of bearing you can insert any of the part and you can give the input according the software asks and you can get the standard parts. Now let's go for the bolts. Now let's suppose I want this type of bolt here. I'll drop it and you can see I can select its size, let's say M10, its length, let's say 45, let's say its thread length, its display. Like this I can show the threads in the schematic. In the cosmetic it will be like this, and in the simplified there will be like this. Okay, so click on OK and it will generate instances till you have it, till you cancel it. Now what our next type is keys. So I'll show you parallel key. Drag it and you can see it will have dimension standard 12 mm, 17 mm, 22 mm, 30 mm. Let's say I have this. I have length options here. Form A, Form B, Form C, like that. I click on OK and it will be in my assembly. So basically this design toolbox is very handy feature for our standard components like nuts, bolts, gears, chain wheels, structural members, and that. So I'm showing you one type from each, and you can use that according to your design. And let's see the nut now. Let's say we want hex nut with flange, so I'll draw it to assembly. I can select its size here, thread display here, and click on OK, and you can see we have our nut with flange here. Now the O-rings. In the O-rings we have two series, series A, series G. Just drag it and it will ask you for inner diameter, for thickness, and yes, you are ready to go. In the planes we have different type of planes. Let's say I have parallel pin here, size M10, type A and B, length let's say 30 mm, and yes, it is that. You can see this is threaded from here and chamfered from this end. Now we have already seen the gears. Let's now see the chain wheels. In the chain wheel we also have some more types. We'll see the first basic type only. We have our chain number here. We have small roller type, small or large. Number of teeth here. You can see like this. Set of teeth, single cut, double cut. Sprocket type A, B, C. Similar to the gear. We have our hub diameter. You can see we have length, shaft diameter. You can see the shaft diameter, keyway, like that. And what we have structural members. We have, let's say, C channel. I have different sizes here for C channel. I can drag it by input, giving the length input, click on OK, like this. But for the standard channels, we mostly use the weldment type. We do not use the structural members from the library. We use them from the weldment type. Okay. Now let's say the rectangular tube. We have standard sizes of tubes here. Input the length, and yes, you are ready to go. Again, the last option is washers. We have different type of washer series here. Just drag that, select its size, and okay, you are ready to use it. So in the toolbox you have different type of standards, Indian and all. As we have seen, you can see we have different type of standards here. So you have similar parts all in the standards, and you can use them by dragging and giving the size input to that. Now tell me guys, for any doubts, any queries in your mind. Okay.